Hello, I am attorney Masa Sam Foray, and I am founder of the Foray firm with offices in Houston and in Chicago, Illinois. And I am back again to talk to you about all things related to immigration. So today's question is, what should go into my hardship letter? And this hardship letter, specifically this particular video that I'm making, is about a hardship letter because you have to demonstrate extreme hardship and that you fall into the category of extreme hardship once you have received a notice to appear at a removal or deportation hearing. Okay, and so today's question is, what should go in or what should be included in my hardship letter? So first of all, again, I am not one of those attorneys that takes myself too seriously or takes our profession too seriously. We're certainly here to help, and I believe that we are good resources. And there are some things, however, in my personal opinion, that people can do without a lawyer, and they might be able to do pretty successfully. Also, in my opinion, a removal or deportation hearing is not one of those things. If you have received a notice to appear or you are facing removal proceedings, there is no time like the present to make sure that you engage with a trusted immigration attorney, because we're trained very specially to think critically, and the way that we think critically is very, very unique to the practice of law. And so I truly encourage you to engage with a trusted immigration attorney if you have received a notice to appear at a removal hearing or an immigration hearing of any kind, quite frankly. So what should go into your hardship letter? First of all, the first thing that I want you to note is the stakes are really high when you've gotten to the point of having to show that you are, a part of the exception and not the rule. Okay, and so you want the immigration officer to excuse you from following the rule because you are the exception. That means the stakes are pretty high because it's not an avenue that's available to everybody. So make sure that your hardship letter is very, very specific. You are not going to want to speak in generalities. All right, simply stating that it would be an extreme hardship to you if you were to leave because you would not be able to raise your child, or it would effectively end your marriage because your husband or your wife, who is a lawful U.S. citizen or a lawful permanent resident, could not join you in your country, is not going to be good enough. That's the situation more than likely for almost everybody who's facing a removal. Again, what you want to do is establish how your situation is special. It is a special circumstance. So, using an example of an ailing spouse. If you have an ailing spouse, you're going to want to speak in very, very specific terms. Exactly what is their illness? Exactly what is their prognosis? Exactly how is it that you are the primary caregiver, and what exactly do you foresee as the harm that would come to them if you were removed from the United States? Also, number two, you're going to want to make sure that you have some corroborating information about this. Your word at this stage in the process is probably not going to be sufficient for the immigration court and for the government. They're not going to just take your word for it. And so if you have claimed a very specific ailment or illness that your spouse has, and you are that person's primary caregiver, and you assist them greatly with their medication and their daily regimen, you're also going to want to have that illness, ailment, prognosis corroborated by a letter from their doctor and medical records from their treating physician. All right, step three, honestly, is that you're going to want to repeat steps 1 and step 2 as much as possible. So, while you don't want to seem that you are overreaching and you're stretching to find excuses to be here, again, you are asking for an excuse and you are asking for an exception as available under the law. And quite frankly, if you have 1 or 2 compelling reasons that would give you the upper hand in achieving this exception, then make sure that you clearly flesh that out. So for me, step 3 would be repeat Steps 1 and steps 2. Number 1, we use the example of you having an ailing spouse. Well, maybe another exception is that you also have a U.S. citizen child, and that U.S. citizen child is an 8th grader or a 9th grader who has stellar grades, who is really on the road to success, is on the road to a college. Maybe they're exceptionally academically talented, and their report card would bear that out with all of the A's that they have and their high scholastic achievement. Well, if you are the parent who has been, the primary caregiver to that child, if you are the one who has been the link between them and their teachers and making sure that they go forward in their educational pursuits, if it would be a great detriment to your child if that child were to, have to leave the, United States educational system to follow you to a country where they don't speak the language and where they have no connections with friends and children in their group or cohort, well, this would be the time to show that and to demonstrate that by stating what the issue is and then supporting, providing any supporting documentation. In this example, with a child who is, academically gifted, it would be their report cards, their attendance records, any other documentation you have to show that you are the nexus between them and these good grades and the road that they are on to become a good citizen. And then lastly, again, I will end with what I started with. Not every single case, and if you've watched some of my videos, you know that I don't say this in every single video. There are some circumstances that really do need a lawyer's touch. If you have been served with a notice to appear, or if you have been detained and you are facing removal proceedings, please, by all means, do yourself a big, huge favor and at least consult with a trusted immigration attorney. I hope that this has been helpful, and we look forward to seeing you next time.